Hey guys, so in today's video I wanted to talk about what I would consider the basics when starting commissions and how I went about creating my whole system and making sure that everything worked out well for both me and the client. And just right off the bat I want to say I don't take commissions right at the moment. I'm way too busy to do so, but yeah, if I ever open them up I will let you guys know. And just before I begin talking about the topic for this video, I wanted to say thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. And if you don't know what Skillshare is, it's an online learning community for creators with more than 15,000 classes in everything from design and photo and business. So it's especially useful when you're a new artist starting out and you want to establish your own brand, or when you want to learn a couple of skills but don't actually want to go pay for classes in a community college or a college. So anybody can take a class, and then each class has a project that you complete, and the teacher of the class will critique the work, and it's really awesome. And you can even start your own class if you would want to. And premium membership is as low as $10 a month, and so with premium membership you can watch any class that you want to, and you can download the app and even watch classes when you're offline. And so for me personally, I've learned a bunch of really good techniques with watercolors, and I'm watching a lot of videos on graphic design because that's what I want to major in when I get to college. And also there's a bunch of really good classes about branding yourself and starting your own business and entrepreneurship and marketing and all that kind of stuff. So as an artist, it is really helpful for getting insight on how to develop yourself and your brand, you know? And so if you want to, you can check out the link in the description, and it will be a link to a free 2-month trial to Skillshare, and at least try that out and try out a couple of the classes. I've had Skillshare for a couple months now and I really love it, and I still use it, so I can vouch for it. So when you want to start taking commissions, the first thing that you have to do is obviously make yourself a list of the types of commissions you will offer. Are they going to be digital or traditional? Are they going to be sketches or detailed? Are they going to be portraits or landscapes or, concept art? Just figure out exactly what you would like to offer. If you want to do traditional commissions, are you going to just send them a high resolution scan of the final image, or are you going to actually send them the piece when you're finished? So once you've established what kinds of commissions you want to take, then you have to consider how much time each commission will take you, and also if anybody wants something extra in their painting, such as if you want to just create a portrait and somebody wants you to add some very complex jewelry or clothing or pets or backgrounds, you'll have to consider how much time it will take you to add that extra detail to your piece. Also, you have to consider if there's any cost of materials if you're doing traditional pieces, and if you're going to include shipping in the commission price. And you have to also consider how much time and energy you're going to spend on your customer service and making sure that the client is content. One big thing I have to say is don't make the mistake of only calculating how many hours the actual painting will take you and using a minimum wage rate for that amount of work, because maybe half of the commission process is communicating with the client and making sure that they're happy with the result. So if you're just charging a minimum wage for just the painting, you are going to be paid so little for your time, and it's not worth it. So when you're choosing the rate per hour for your commission, if you have a job right now, think about how much you're being paid and if it seems fair to you. If the time you're investing seems like it's being repaid fairly with the salary you have. Or if you're younger or you're in school or college and you don't have a job, just think about how much you would desire to be paid per hour that would make it worth it for you to actually create commissions for people. Don't underprice yourself because you have a smaller following or you don't think anybody will order commissions from you. Of course, it's always useful to go see what other artists of about the same skill set as you price their art with and what kind of audience they have, but just in general, don't underprice your art just because you feel that your audience will not purchase anything. The next thing is don't undervalue your art just because you think others will do so. Honestly, you don't want people who don't value your art at all to commission you. In any profession, you want your client valuing your work, and just because art is a commodity, it doesn't mean it should be valued less. And nobody is entitled to art or commodities. So if you cater to people who won't value what you do and think they deserve and are entitled to your work, you're not going to be happy and it won't work out for you at all. So it's not going to be rewarding in the slightest, and it's going to be a completely unpleasant experience on your part, and you're just basically going to be catering to people who are using you for your art because they think they're entitled to it. So when deciding your rates, make sure that you're being paid an adequate sum per hour for the painting process, and also include materials, shipping, and customer service, and emailing and all that into the whole equation. So figure out how much the actual painting will take you and maybe add 25 to 50% to that, depending on any expenses that you're going to be paying for this. So when you come out with a rate for a particular piece that you want to offer as a commission, it might seem to you when you come up with the equation that it's a crazy amount of money, it's too much money. In the end, with all the work you're going to be putting into it, it's going to be the fair amount. I've underpriced my art a lot, and I've had people like milk me for as much as they can get, and I was too nice to be like, hey, it's going to cost you extra to do this and this, and it was such an unpleasant experience for me to just work under those conditions, and it was gross. Like, bad experiences. Don't underprice yourself and just value your art. So after you've established the types and rates, you have to add examples to each type of commission on a commission page so the client can see an example of what they're going to be getting. And it doesn't have to be a commission piece, it can just be any piece that you've created in the past, but with more commissions that you're going to get, you can replace the original examples with those commissions. So you just want to have basically an accurate representation of something similar to what the client is going to be getting. Also, on your commission sheet, I think it's really important for you to add your business email, of course, so people can contact you, and make sure to specify the type of payment you accept. And so PayPal is basically the wisest way. I don't really want to get into anything else like checks or whatever. I'm just going to recommend do PayPal. Also, you want to include how long it might take you to finish the piece, give them a timeline, and also if you're going to ship, give a timeline about how long shipping takes. And also you want to say when you accept payment, if you accept half or full beforehand. Also, you want to add 2 disclaimers. The first one is that you retained the right to reject any commissions you don't feel comfortable with, and also to specify exactly what you will not paint, whether that's something too sexual or too violent. Just make sure that you have boundaries to what you're going to paint. Also, on the commission sheet, sometimes it's a good idea to include your strengths and weaknesses, and that will give any potential client an idea of what you can or can't do and what expectations they should have of you. So after all this, I'm going to talk about payments. And with payments, you have to make sure that you always receive at least half of the payment before you begin working on the commission. Never begin working without a guarantee that you'll be paid. And just because somebody says they'll pay you or promises they'll pay you, don't accept their word for that. Because it's better to be safe than sorry and to have somebody steal your work and not pay you, and you spend a bunch of time and energy and your little heart and soul and feeling into a painting and somebody just steals it from you. The only time I would say it would be okay to begin working without payment beforehand is if you're working with a bigger brand or a company and you have a contract that specifies when you're going to be paid, but you have to make sure that you trust the brand or company and you have to know it's a legitimate organization. And that's not like a majority of cases, so that's just kind of an exception. So in general, I would say always accept at least half of the payment before you begin working. You're going to get excuses sometimes about why somebody won't want to pay you to begin with. They'll say, I don't have enough money in my bank account right now. I'm going to get my paycheck in a week or 2 weeks or something like that. When somebody says something like that, of course you have to be courteous, but just let them know that you can wait for them until they have the certain amount of money in their bank account, or if their paycheck comes in, and you can just wait until they pay you. And so if somebody says, oh, my paycheck hasn't come in and it's going to come in a week and a half, don't begin working on the commission just because you think you're going to be guaranteed the payment in a week and a half. That can be a lie. So just let the person know that you're willing to wait until they have the money in their bank account. So what I did when taking commissions regarding payment is I would give the client 2 options. One would be to pay the full amount to begin with, or half the rate, and then half right before I would send them a final illustration. And so if the client chose to pay the whole amount, I would send them full resolution work in progress shots of the painting at regular intervals, and so they would see the whole, like the full resolution for every single progress shot. If they chose to pay only half to begin with and half before I gave them the final piece, I would still send them the work in progress shots, but they would be thumbnail size. So just enough so that they can see what's going on, but definitely not big enough to print or to publish online. And with that whole process, I've never really been swindled, or I've always gotten the payment that we originally agreed upon. So a big thing is to accept payment, some of it at least, before you begin working. Don't begin working with no payment guaranteed. Also, when you're working, send progress shots at regular intervals and make sure that your client is happy with how the painting is looking. Don't just work on the whole commission, send it to them, and a lot of times it's not going to be exactly how they envisioned it, and they're going to make you rework it, and rightly so, of course, because you didn't check in with them to see if it was looking good. So just make sure that you send them progress shots of the sketch, the base colors, and just details as you're adding them, and make sure that you ask them if there's anything else that they would like changed, so that by the end, if you give them the final painting and ask them if they're happy with everything, they don't give you a huge list of things that they would like to be changed and you just wasted a lot of time, you know? And the last thing that I want to say is, when you're taking commissions, make sure that you follow through with the client's wishes as best as possible and try to be as friendly and courteous as you can, and that will create a good relationship. So if the client is pleased with the final piece that they receive, they can actually commission you again. It's happened to me before. Or they can recommend you to a friend and that friend will commission you. That has happened to me before too. And just trying to be as friendly as possible, even if a client is annoying you, or you know, you just feel like they're somehow milking you for as much as they can get and that they're not being helpful. Just try to be as gracious as possible throughout the whole process, whether the client is being really nice or whether you feel like they're being a little bit less nice than you would like them to. Just try to be positive throughout the whole experience and gracious in basically everything you do, and in the end it will kind of reward you. So yeah, those are kind of my tips on commissions and how I went about them. If you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments and I might make another video on commissions. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more videos, because I put them out every single Sunday. I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye!